neutral thoughts. I see no neutral things. I'm not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. I'm not alone in experiencing the effects of my thoughts. I am determined to see. 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 I have no neutral thoughts. I see no neutral things. I'm not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. I'm not alone in experiencing the effects of my thoughts. I am determined to see. 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 Well, thank you all so much for joining me in studying Lesson 54 in A Course in Miracles here for Monday, February the 23rd of 2026. And I'm Forgiveness Willie, teaching forgiveness from the Ozarks. We're reading from the Foundation for Inner Peace version of A Course in Miracles. And, we're also going through the original edition for you multiple year students. And I haven't told you the last few days where we're supposed to be reading that. So let me tell you right now before I forget again. Out of the original edition, read chapter 6 and letter C, which is be vigilant only for God and His kingdom, which is ahead of it's the section ahead of what we'll be reading today. Read in the Bible, if you're reading with the Bible New Testament, read Luke chapter 10. In Iyengar Yoga, do page 70 and 71 again, the downward facing dog. And out of A Course of Love, we're in chapter 14, special relationships, earthly and human. And today read 19 to 25. And if you're not at that, at least you'll know where to read up to. Hopefully you've been reading a couple pages every day and you're kind of with me. Okay, that's the goal here. Get through it in a year. Those books, as well as our Course in Miracles. Lesson 54. These are the review ideas for today. I have no neutral thoughts. I see no neutral things. I'm not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. I'm not alone in experiencing the effects of my thoughts. I am determined to see. And those were lessons 16 through 20. So now let's go read the paragraph that's included in each of the writings. I have no neutral thoughts. These are the review ideas for today, it says there at the top. I have no neutral thoughts. Neutral thoughts are impossible because all thoughts have power. They will either make a false world or lead me to the real one. My thoughts cannot be without effects. As the world I see arises from my thinking errors, so will the real world rise before my eyes as I let my errors be corrected. My thoughts cannot be neither true nor false. They must be one or the other. What I see shows me which they are. I have no neutral thoughts. I see no neutral things. Lesson 17. What I see witnesses to what I think. If I did not think, I would not exist, because life is thought. That reminds me of Rene Descartes. Is it Descartes? I think, therefore I am. That fits right along there, isn't it? What I see witnesses to what I think. If I did not think, I would not exist, because life is thought. Let me look on the world I see as the representation of my own state of mind. Have we got starting to do that? Look at the world we see and realize, well, this is just my state of mind. I'm seeing war because I have warring in me. We could just as well see peace instead of this. As the world I see arises from my thinking errors, wrong area. What I see witnesses to what I think. I see no neutral things. What I see witnesses to what I think. If I did not think, I would not exist, because life is thought. Let me look on the world I see as the representation of my own state of mind. I know that my state of mind can change, and so I also know the world I see can change as well. Lesson 18, I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. If I have no private thoughts, I cannot see a private world. Even the mad idea of separation had to be shared before it could form the basis of the world I see. Yet that sharing was a sharing of nothing. I can also call upon my real thoughts, which share everything with everyone. As my thoughts of separation call to the separation thoughts of others, so my real thoughts awaken the real thoughts in them. And the world my real thoughts show me will dawn on their sight as well as mine. I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my thoughts. I am alone in nothing. Everything I think or say or do teaches all the universe. A son of God cannot think or speak or act in vain. He cannot be alone in anything. It is therefore in my power to change every mind along with mine, for mine is the power of God. I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my thoughts. And review number 20. I am determined to see. Recognizing the shared nature of my thoughts, I am determined to see. I would look upon the witnesses that show me the thinking of the world has been changed. I would behold the proof that what has been done through me has enabled love to replace fear, laughter to replace tears, and abundance to replace loss. I would look upon the real world and let it teach me that my will and the will of God are one. I am determined to see. And one time again through them, and you don't have to go back and read the lesson unless you can if you want, but there's no, but just the idea for now is to see the interrelationship between these five ideas. I have no neutral thoughts. I see no neutral things. I'm not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. I'm not alone in experiencing the effects of my thoughts. I am determined to see. Okay, well, let's go back and look in our text reading. And we're reading through the Lessons of the Holy Spirit section, which is the Lessons of the Holy Spirit, which is in chapter 6, the Lessons of Love, Roman numeral 5, the Lessons of the Holy Spirit. And yesterday we read A, to have, give all to all. And today we're ready to read to have peace, teach peace to learn it. And we're just going to read through that section, and we'll read be vigilant only for God and His kingdom, which is C, tomorrow. Okay, to have peace, teach peace, to learn it. All who believe in separation have a basic fear of retaliation and abandonment. Okay, just a minute. I'm going to go ahead and put my gloves on because it's just cold enough this morning that I want to have my hands warm enough so when I get ready to do my song at the end, they're not too cold. All who believe in separation have a basic fear of retaliation and abandonment. They believe in attack and rejection, so that is what they perceive and teach and learn. These insane ideas are clearly the result of dissociation and projection. What you teach, you are. But it is quite apparent that you can teach wrongly and can therefore teach yourself wrong. Many thought I was attacking them, even though it was apparent I was not. And that's referring to, when Yeshua walked the earth, he's saying many believed that I was attacking them, even though it was apparent I was not. An insane learner learns strange lessons. What you must recognize is that when you do not share a thought system, you are weakening it. Those who believe in it, therefore, perceive this as an attack on them. This is because everyone identifies himself with his own thought system, and every thought system centers on what you believe you are. If the center of a thought system is true, only truth extends from it. But if a lie is at the center, only deception proceeds from it. 2. All good teachers realize that only fundamental change will last, but they do not begin at that level. Strengthening motivation for change is their first and foremost goal. It is also their last and final one. Increasing motivation for change in the learner is all that a teacher need do to guarantee change. Change in motivation is a change of mind, and this will inevitably produce fundamental change because the mind is fundamental. The first step in the reversal or undoing process is the undoing of the getting concept. According to the Holy Spirit's first lesson, to have, give all to all. The first step in the reversal or undoing process is the undoing of the getting concept. According to the Holy Spirit's first lesson, accordingly, the Holy Spirit's first lesson was to have, give all to all. So now, in the beginning, you believe that when you get something, somebody else loses it, and that you've got to keep it in order to have it. And in this world, that may be true, but that's not true in the kingdom of heaven. And we're starting to learn that the kingdom of heaven is what rules this world. So there's a better way to live even in this world, and it's to have, give all to all. And it's more difficult, he says, he's going to explain this, because you're changing your direction on this particular lesson. So he's going to explain. Let's just listen what he says. I said that this is apt to increase conflict temporarily, and we can clarify this still further now. At this point, the equality of having and being is not yet perceived. Until it is, having appears to be the opposite of giving. Therefore, the first lesson seems to contain a contradiction, since it is being learned by a conflicted mind. This means conflicting motivation, and so the lesson cannot be learned consistently as yet. Further, the mind of the learner projects its own conflict and thus does not perceive consistency in the minds of others, making him suspicious of their motivation. We better read that sentence again. Further, the mind of the learner projects its own conflict and thus does not perceive consistency in the minds of others, making him suspicious of their motivation. This is the real reason why, in many respects, the first lesson is the hardest to learn. Still strongly aware of the ego in others and responding primarily to the ego in others, still strongly aware of the ego in yourself and responding primarily to the ego in others, you are being taught to react to both as if what you do believe is not true. Okay, so that's why it's kind of difficult, because we're responding now in a way that seems like we're going against reality. It's just that we were upside down, though. Paragraph 4, upside down as always, the ego perceives the first lesson as insane. In fact, this is its only alternative, since the other possibility, which would be much less acceptable to it, would obviously be that it is insane. The ego's judgment here, as always, is predetermined by what it is. The fundamental change will still occur with the change of mind in the thinker. Meanwhile, the increasing clarity of the Holy Spirit's voice makes it impossible for the learner not to listen. For a time, then, he receives conflicting messages. For a time, then, he is receiving conflicting messages and accepting both. 5. The way out of conflict between two opposing thought systems is clearly to choose one and relinquish the other. If you identify with your thought system, and you cannot escape this, and if you accept two thought systems which are in complete disagreement, peace of mind is impossible. If you teach both, which you will surely do as long as you accept both, you are teaching conflict and learning it. Yet you do want peace, or you would not have called upon the voice for peace to help you. Its lesson is not insane. The conflict is. There can be no conflict between sanity and insanity. Only one is true, and therefore only one is real. The ego tries to persuade you that it is up to you to decide which voice is true. But the Holy Spirit teaches you that truth was created by God, and your decision cannot change it. As you begin to realize the quiet power of the Holy Spirit's voice and its perfect consistency, it must dawn on your mind that you're trying to undo a decision that was irrevocably made for you. That is why I suggested before that you remind yourself to allow the Holy Spirit to decide for God, for you. 7. You are not asked to make insane decisions, although you can think you are. It must, however, be insane to believe that it is up to you to decide what God's creations are. The Holy Spirit perceives the conflict exactly as it is. Therefore, his second lesson is to have peace, teach peace to learn it. 8. This is still a preliminary step, since having and being are still not equated. It is, however, much advanced. It is, however, more advanced than the first step, which is really only the beginning of the thought reversal. The second step is a positive affirmation of what you want. This, then, is a step in the direction out of conflict, since it means that alternatives have been considered, and one has been chosen as more desirable. Nevertheless, the term more desirable still implies that the desirable has degrees. Therefore, although this step is essential for the ultimate decision, it is clearly not the final one. Lack of order of difficulty in miracles has not yet been accepted, because nothing is difficult that is wholly desired. To desire wholly is to create, and creating cannot be difficult if God himself created you as a creator. And the last paragraph, 9, we'll finish for today. The second step, then, is still perceptual, although it is a giant's step toward the unified perception that reflects God's knowing. As you take this step and hold this decision, you will be pushing toward the center of your thought system, where the fundamental change will occur. All the second step Oh, at the second step, progress is intermittent. But the second step is easier than the first because it follows. Realizing that it must follow is a demonstration of a growing awareness that the Holy Spirit will lead you on. Okay, so we're just moving on in the right direction after we've made the turnaround to give all to all. Now we're moving further on that direction to have peace, teach peace, to learn it. Tell you what, let's just stop right there and sing the Lessons of the Holy Spirit song. Then we'll see what's going on around the world. The lessons of the Holy Spirit are the lessons of the Holy Spirit are to have, give all to all, give all to all, to have, give all to all, to have peace, teach peace, to learn it, to have peace, teach peace, to learn it, be vigilant only for God and His kingdom, be vigilant only for God and His kingdom. The lessons of the Holy Spirit are to have, give all to all, to have peace, teach peace, to learn it, be vigilant only for God and His kingdom. Okay, let's see. And before we go back to looking at our lesson once again, what's going on around the world? Well, for the Orthodox Christians, it's Clean Monday, also known as Green Monday. It's the beginning of what they call the Great Lent. For the Islamic people, Ramadan continues. For the Western Christians, Roman Christians, Lent continues. And then from your Oriental New Year celebrations, it goes on. Today will be the last day of those celebrations. World Peace and Understanding Day. Curling is Cool Day. I found these on Curling is Cool Day. I found these on holidays and observances, a lot of them anyway. Diesel Engine Day, International Dog Biscuit Appreciation Day, Banana Bread Day, Cupcake Day in Canada, Hospitality Workers Appreciation Day, and we always appreciate those people that care for the weak. Play More Cards Day, Play Tennis Day. And out of edible landscaping, I want to tell you about another cherry, and this is actually a Prunus cerasus North Star, the North Star dwarf cherry. And it says of the North Star sour dwarf cherry is a sour morella type cherry that's very tasty right off the tree. Fruits are large and the stone small and easily removed. Tree is a genetic dwarf, grows less than 10 foot tall, self-fertile, excellent for home gardens, zones 5 through 8. Self-fertile, so you don't have to have a pollinator. And our word for peace, we're just going to take it from Arabic. Since there's so much going on in the world today, we need to learn to be at peace with everyone. Our Arabic brothers and sisters. And the word is what? Do y'all remember what the word for peace in Arabic is? Salaam. And they usually say, as a greeting, As-salamu alaykum. Peace be with you. And then you'd say back to them, and peace be back onto you. Alaykum as-salam. Okay, so salam. Okay, and let's take a couple minutes and do one of our practice periods. I think we've got time. Let's just look at the first one. We'll look at all 4 of them. Lesson 54. I have no neutral thoughts. I see no neutral things. I'm not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. I'm not alone in experiencing the effects of my thoughts. I am determined to see. And I a lot of times will add a word before them as I'm reading through them all to kind of tie them together. For instance, I have no neutral thoughts because I see no neutral things. Or therefore I see no neutral things, I might say. I have no neutral thoughts. Therefore I see no neutral things. And since I'm not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing, I'm therefore not alone in experiencing the effects of my thoughts. And I'm determined to see reality. I'm determined to see. Okay. Let's look at the first one. I have no neutral thoughts. And we'll get you one of your 2-minute practice periods again. Neutral thoughts are impossible because all thoughts have power. They will either make a false world or lead me to the real one. But thoughts cannot be without effects. As the world I see arises from my thinking errors, so will the real world rise before my eyes as I let my errors be corrected. My thoughts cannot be neither true nor false. They must be one or the other. What I see shows me which they are. Are you seeing a world of peace and love? And then you're seeing your real thoughts. You're seeing a world of conflict and violence and attack. And you're looking at your insane thoughts. I have no neutral thoughts. I see no neutral things. I'm not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my thoughts. I am determined to see. 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 I see no neutral things. I'm not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. I'm not alone in experiencing the effects of my thoughts. I am determined to see. 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 I have no neutral thoughts. I see no neutral things. I'm not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. I'm not alone in experiencing the effects of my thoughts. I am determined to see. Salaam.